this is Maria Japieva. Thanks for being here in my channel. So before I move on, remember to subscribe, hit the button below if you want to know all about auditions, a life inside singer-songwriting at London, and musical theatre performer. So in today's video, I will tell you about my decision of doing a master in musical theatre, whilst I already had a BA in musical theatre and a BA in acting, classical acting. And I had also done half the BA in opera and classical music and classical voice. So why I decided to do a master, first of all, who is it for, why is it worth doing it? And so basically I came to London at my 28 years old. So all of my network, business-wise, in the musical theatre industry, was all based in my original country, which is Argentina. You can definitely perceive in my accent I'm not British, right? So I really felt I needed to land here and have that network. And of course, there are many ways to build that network. And as soon as I got here, I tried to get in touch with important mentors in this industry, and I got to meet lovely people, amazing, super high level mentors that thankfully guide me through all of this. But I felt that going through a master would not only give me the network with mentors, but also with agents, with people in the industry, Western directors, and also mates, like friends. I could see them grow with me, and after 4 years of being by myself, trying to find the way by myself, I'm so glad to be able to do a master, because sometimes it can be quite alone, especially if you're in a new country, you have no friends. I built my relationships during these years, but there is something missing, right? And I think the social part of it is such an important part, because the life of an artist is really like a roller coaster. So yeah, doing friends, meeting lovely people from the industry here, I think that was one of my biggest whys to do a master. And then of course, because if you don't know about me, well, also before jumping into this amazing journey, I built 2 companies. So one is my skincare brand, and the other, it's a social media academy I built with my husband, where we teach people how to become influencers. And so it was 8 years of me being fully into my business side of it. So when I was 17, I started my artistic journey. I went into uni, I did these BAs in musical theatre and classical acting and classical singing. But then when I graduated, because I did the 3 things at the same time, nuts. I was 22 years old, and I didn't want to see a class of anything anymore. I was so overwhelmed and completely, it was too much. So yeah, I also thought, I want to go to London to do a master, but I need to gather my thing around. So why not building a business, right? To cover my expenses there. At that time I was living with my mother. I had no money at all. I invested all of my savings into buying a piano, so I was broke basically. The only money I had was from a few lessons that I could give in my free time, which wasn't much because I was doing 3 BAs at the same time. Why? So yeah, I just said, okay, I need to grab some cash into my life to be able to pursue this dream of going to London. Why London? Because it's Europe's Broadway, and I love Argentina, but I've always felt I needed to go somewhere else. The song Astonishing from Little Women, where she says, basically, I need to leave my home and go to the unknown. Well, I felt like that. That's why I love Astonishing so much. And so that's when my journey started. But in the middle, I got very good at doing businesses. So I started earning these trips as an influencer, and I traveled to more than 60 cities in the last 6 years. So I kind of like the juice of money and trips and yeah, buying my first Louis Vuitton wallet and stuff. But there was a point where I was being very successful, but still there was this part of the puzzle missing, because I've always deep down started my businesses to be able to move to London to do a master and insert myself into West End. So it was like a bittersweet kind of taste. And then COVID hit and our sales skyrocket because everybody were going online and we were mainly selling things online. And people were also wanting to become influencers and be able to work online. So everything was going to our favor. And I had a TikTok clock going on because I am European as well. All of my family is from Italy, basically. So I knew I could come to London to audition and work as European until the Brexit hit. And I knew from mentors and friends that have come to England before. Oh, there's Prada. Say hi, Prada. So that if you don't have the right to work in the UK, same as in the US, you basically cannot even audition, or that's what I was told at least at that time, because if you cannot work, they won't even give you the spot to audition, which makes sense. So cute. I felt so trapped, honestly, that moment, because it was COVID. It was only 6 months ahead to be able to come to London and live here, so I had the right to ask a special visa for Europeans that came to the UK before the Brexit, which is called pre-settled status. And I knew the clock was ticking, right? When I met my husband like 8 years ago, I think the first month I met him, I said, I'm going to London to pursue my dream of going to the musical theatre industry there. So either you're on board or bye. And I think he probably thought I would never made it, because economics in my country are not like the best. So it's very like non-usual that people can come to London to live unless they have a job, but if you're an artist then you don't have it. So it's quite I only met friends that could come here because they have a non that paid for them. I didn't have that, so yeah, it was so he probably didn't think I would make it, honestly. And I think if you ask him today, he would say I was probably not, but he liked me anyway, so he didn't say anything. So we were 6 months before the Brexit would start, so we wouldn't be able to come. And I sat and I said to my husband, it's either now or never, because, I don't think they will just grant people permission to still live in the UK because there is a pandemic. So I know it's not the best timing, probably, because we're in the middle of a pandemic and every airport is closed, and Argentina is a red flag country, so you kind go directly, you have to stay somewhere else for like 10 days. I think it was something like that at the time. But I said, I'm sorry, but I told you this, I warned you when we first met that I was coming here, so. And yeah, so I think we decided to finally come like 2 months, not kidding, 2 months before the Brexit. So yeah, we start doing the papers things. Also, I would never leave Argentina without my cats. And hello guys, that's another video story about how to bring a cat into the UK. Massive thing. It's not easy, okay? You have to have so many papers. You cannot bring them in an airplane like in any normal country in Europe. I don't know why, but you couldn't at the time. I mean, I think you can't even today. Like, you have to go through boat from Netherlands or through car from Paris. Anyway, it was a delusionate kind of trip. But I said, I'm not leaving my country without my cats. So in 2 months' time, we had the task to finding a house that was pet friendly. Nice try. In London, which was in quarantine, and do all of the papers for the cats. and like basically wrap up all of our thing. Yeah, it was madness. If you want, guys, put in the comments. I can do a whole video talking about that because it was madness. I ended up giving up, I think, like 40 like tray bags, you know, trash bags, the huge ones, 40 of clothes, some of them even unused. Like literally, I left all of my life there and I moved here. And my husband as well, he was in completely denial, honestly. It was so funny. The day before, he was fishing with friends. Like he wasn't like, the idea of moving wasn't, he wasn't even seeing it. He was in denial completely, honestly. So much fun. So if you want the whole story, put below. I have some videos. You will laugh so much about it. Okay, anyway, so yeah, that was why I basically was 8 years doing things. I was doing my vocal lessons. I never stopped doing them. I keep on writing. I did, I think, 1 year of a dancing. Yeah, I did 1 year of a dancing foundation, kind of. But I wasn't much in it because also why building my network in Argentina when I always wanted to end up here, right? So it was like I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And yeah, we arrived to the UK 15 days before the Brexit. And 3 days before they closed all airports because the Delta variation of the COVID was hitting. So that came from London, from the UK to the outside. So 3 days after we arrived here, basically no one could arrive anymore. So I think we were one of the luckiest last ones that could have made it. So yeah, it was so God driven, all of the thing. So yeah, and so after 8 years of being 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I also say, okay, a master will give me that refinement of my dancing, my acting, so I can get like in rhythm again and build that momentum for me as an artist, right? So yeah, that's basically why I decided to go to a master. I'm writing my notes here. And how I came up with the schools I decided to apply to. Well, basically I started asking some friends from my country that have come to do a master. I had one mentor that did a master in the Royal Academy like 20 years ago. She was the one that helped me prepare the first monologue in English I ever did. So thank you, Lucila Gandolfo, thank you so much. She helped me so much on that first round of auditions. And then I had another friend that she did a master in Montview, so she named that and I wrote it down. And then I just started Googling like masters, musical theater, top schools, UK. And yeah, and I started looking at the ones that came up first, and I started looking at what were their graduates doing and which place were they working at, so to see, is this a school I would like to be in? And from Argentina, I already had in mind, it's 18 years old that I said I want to go to London to study musical theater and be there and do a master. I've always wanted to go to Royal Academy of Music. Like that was my goal. Everything I did the last 10 years of my life was to being able to do a master in Royal Academy of Music, okay? Why? God knows why. Well, it's an amazing university, and I thought, okay, Royal is like Juilliard for musical theater in the UK. So I was very fixed. This is the place I'll go, no question. But because I was looking a lot of YouTube tutorials, I bought a lot of like books in America about like, one is called How to Get In, The Callback. So a lot of books about auditions in New York specifically, but I thought this applies for everything. And one of them said, if you're applying for a degree or postgraduate in musical theater, be ready to apply to lots of schools, not only one. So in that book they said always make a list of 20 where like 5 are the top ones and like 10s are the middle ones, and you have a few of the not so good. So just you make sure you get in some place, right? And you don't lose years. But I kind of took that advice, so I didn't just decided, okay, I'm only doing Royals auditions, but I didn't do like a 20 or 10 list. I did a list, but then I just picked, okay, these are the 3 I'll audition because I believe in myself and I'll get to Royal. I laugh so much about my old self at times. I honestly want to grab her and hug her so much and say, you're wrong. Okay. So I'll say why I picked this 4 at the beginning, but I ended up auditioning only in 3, okay? So I decided to audition for Central because, well, I had the pleasure to do a workshop with Les Miserables set from Mexico. So Les Miserables was doing it's a season at Mexico, and the director of it came to Argentina, did a workshop, and she had graduated from Central Speech School. I never say this right, it's too long, but it's a Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, okay? And she had done I think the master in acting direction there. So, and I have already seen it, and I like the videos on YouTube I see about the master in musical theater, and she told me it was an amazing place, and yeah, and I saw some reviews, so I included that in. First because I've seen all of the reviews, but then when I met the director of Miserables and she said I went there to study direction in acting, I said, okay, this is one amazing place because she's amazing. So yeah, so that's one, and also because it's very acting based, so I feel like my strength in the musical theater, I want to become more triple threat, which means you are good at everything. But to be honest, I've always felt like singing was like my main core skill and acting the second, but I wanted to be as good because I feel like if you sing well but you don't interpret well, you're not communicating enough. Like, I don't care how nice is your voice if I don't feel what you're singing. So I like that Central is very acting based to improve that skill of mine. And then, well, Royal, obviously, because I had it fixed in my mind, and because also it has, so the most strong base of Royal is singing, of course, and because it also has other careers as opera and classical music, I felt like I was in my world because I've been training my voice very classically for the last 10 years. Well, the last 14th and the last 2, I would say I was starting like a mix, but I felt very comfortable in like classical singing, classical music. I listened to classical music at my home. One of the BAs I was doing in Argentina, and then I didn't finish it because I moved here, but I was doing was the classical BA in classical music and classical voice. So Royal and UNA, which is the National University of Arts in Argentina, where I was doing that BA, very similar. So it was like, okay, this feels like at home, kind of. And of course, because also Royal is like one of the oldest universities, schools. And yeah, a lot of very important composers went there. So being there was very exciting for me. And then Montview, because from what I've read, it's very good in acting, okay, but it's also very triple threat. And my friend went there, she had an amazing time, she's very good as well. So Paula Gines, if you're looking this, thank you so very much because you've inspired me to go forward to Montview as well. And she gave me some amazing insights, okay. And last but not least, then GSA, which is Guildford School of Acting. So that is the only one that I didn't include in my first 3 rounds of auditions because it's 1.5 hour drive from London. So all of the other schools I mentioned, they are based in London, but GSA it's not. So I didn't include that in my first trials, okay, of auditions. Why did I include it after? Because I was watching the playbills and like I would say 30% of them said graduated from GSA, Guildford School of Acting. So I've seen it so many times that once I say, okay, let's check out this baby up, right? And I checked the syllabus and everything, and it's like, oh my god, this is an amazing choice. Also, I see that a lot of very important people went here, like not only from the musical theater industry, but also the film industry, the acting, because Guildford, what I like, it's very triple threat. So it's not maybe like, from what I felt at least, this is an opinion, but it's not as Royal Academy or Central, which are more like singing based or acting based. This is really triple threat, but it's also very strong in acting and singing, so and especially acting. So that's why I liked it so much. And also is the only one that had a master of 2 years, which is not a master, it's an MFA, which is higher than a master level. So I was intrigued to why is there like a double year master, and I started looking at the syllabus and I felt, okay, this looks nice. I don't know if I want to go 1 hour and a half away from home, to be fair, but I'll just include it because, you know, auditioning, it's always good for my audition skills. So yeah, that's why I included it in. And I think one of the Christines from Fountain of the Opera went to a GSA, and yeah, that's how I came up to it after watching it in so many playbills. So yeah, these are the schools. This is why I decided to do a master. And on my next video, I'll tell you all about these 4 years of auditioning for masters. What are the requirements for each of these schools? What are the insights I got from auditioning? And finally getting into one, which will have it'll be a mystery until I tell you all about it. It's amazing. That audition was so much fun, and I'll tell you all about it. So hopefully you can get inspiration and get into a master as well. And so don't forget to subscribe if you want to watch it, because I'll tell you all about it. Please leave me in the comments if you like this kind of content, and I'll see you in the next one to tell you all about my experience auditioning to these schools. Bye! See you in the next one!